In San Antonio, FC's fourth season, a club with constant playoff expectations are beneath the playoff line. El Paso's first season has been phenomenal, and a former national team charge, Kisa Vedder, leads the way. Contreras, Wednesday Night Soccer begins right now. Welcome to the USL Championships Wednesday Night Soccer Contreras edition from Toyota Field in San Antonio, Texas. San Antonio 16th in the Western Conference, and a large contingent rode up from El Paso for the match tonight as Billy Forbes says hello to the San Antonio faithful who hope their side moves closer to the playoff line tonight. Hello, everybody. Welcome to our booth, joined by Devin Kerr, Mike Watts on hand. Glad to have you aboard for this one. Two teams from Texas that haven't met in the regular season before. For El Paso, expansion year, first of 7 teams that are part of the expansion in USL Championship this year. And they've had a great year. For San Antonio, they've struggled a little bit, Devin, especially on the road. Why is that?
It's quite interesting when you look at the body of work because the performances are there. The results are not. They're creating in the final third, but they aren't executing. Throw that out the window. Let's address the elephant in the room. The 12th man, the permanent super sub for San Antonio FC, a team that has only lost 9 games all time at home. Remember, this team is just 2 years removed from going 14 games unbeaten to start 2017. Their supporters group, the Crocketeers and the Mission City Firm, they preach pride, passion, and heart for 90 minutes. They're going to need it tonight.
And what's more, El Paso is unbeaten on the road, and a big reason why, the Kisa Vedder effect. He's been phenomenal.
It's interesting to see their body of work before and then after Jerome's arrival. So let's take a look at that. They're missing the true number 9. Mark Lowry admitted, he said, I don't have that focal point up top. 4, 5, and 6 guys rotating around the ball right here. No one checking to it. No options available. Very flat-footed. Rotates back around. Yuma Monsalves. He'll come back out. He'll then receive it. He gets a quick little turn as he looks the other direction. Stagnant again. Everybody's standing. No one checking to this ball. Only space available is a long ball to the far touchline. That's the worst look you want to hit. It's going to be very difficult to bring down, especially in a 2v1 situation. Over the top, they lose possession. Jerome steps in, April 14th. Phoenix Rising, his first game, doesn't score, but since then been on an absolute tear. Salgado cuts inside, watch the number 9. Recognizes the space in between the back line, cuts right in through, does exactly what you expect. Across his body, far post finish, prototypical from the number 9, and this is my favorite. His ability to understand the space made readily available because of how cheeky he can be. Good rotation out. James Kimpy's going to receive this. Up, youngster, Depew on the back line. That's a 4-year pro in the center back from Los Dos. Jerome recognizes the little turn. He juts in behind the backside. Great finish to the near post by the number 9. That's what they were lacking at the beginning, not lately. 10 goals, 11 games from the big German up top.
Does it continue for Locomotive tonight? A win there in second for San Antonio. 6 points beneath the playoff line, but it's still only the midpoint of the season. Wednesday Night Soccer coming up next. Players making their way onto the field for Wednesday night soccer USL Championship action. San Antonio FC on the left, El Paso Locomotive on the right. 86 degrees in San Antonio on a sunny Wednesday night. Devin, starting lineup for El Paso.
Only one change for Mark Lowry's boys. Sebastian Contreras comes out. Calvin Resende into the 10 spot. Really like what Richie Ryan and Herrera are able to do from the holding midfielder positions. This is a team that is the most efficient with passing accuracy in the USL Championship. They like to move the ball side to side. We talked about Kisa Vedder with his 10 goals. The next closest one, a few guys at 2. So it'd be nice to have some support. You take a look at the home squad, and we said that their performances haven't been bad, just struggling with results. The reason being, they can't finish in the final third. Plain and simple. They've got a couple focal pieces that have come back in. Billy Forbes, Ever Guzman stepping in up top, and Bradford Jamieson on the right. Liked what he was able to do in the Fresno game. Interesting matchup. Ethan Bryant will be matched up against James Skippy, who plays a really high line. Jack Barmby, who was rotated into this wingback position on the left side, number 11, has to be the biggest and brightest light for Darren Powell's squad. He has been the most consistent player. He's going to have a tall task as well with Armor Salgado.
Mark Lowry, the coach for El Paso, called him a really good footballer, but they may be focusing on him here tonight. Jerome Kisa Vedder standing over the ball, about a goal a game since he's come to El Paso from Germany. Underway from the Alamo City, Wednesday night soccer. El Paso and San Antonio meeting for the first time in the regular season. They met in preseason. Two coaches were quite close friends, Devin, and the interesting thing about it is they were actually chatting with one another about what they saw in each other's teams then, so I'm interested to see how it bears out now.
These guys have a lot of history between themselves, dating back to Orlando City and their time there, both the academies and assistants with the first team. And it's always funny how that plays out. Can become very much a cat and mouse type thing, where tactics used before, seen before, have to then evolve, give yourself a bit of an advantage.
Down wide by Pekka, played forward by Bryant. Guzman. Gallegos. And into the back line, Akan. San Antonio notably tonight without Lance Lang and Brian Gomez. Lang's been out for about a month. Gomez was injured last time out. San Antonio pushing into the final third, laid ahead. Ball caroms around and comes to Ketterer. Gallegos not on the end of that.
That'll be a big loss in the likes of Brian Gomez coming out, dealing with the injury that he did pick up. Through first Fresno. So you see a look between the movement going forward and the offside called.
And Devin, let's go ahead and hit the elephant in the room right now. Toyota Field is undergoing a process that has to happen in South Texas. There's a transition in the grass from a winter rye to a summer Bermuda. I've learned more about grass over the last 2 days than I ever thought imaginable, but the playability of it is okay. The athletes are okay to play on it. However, visually not the most appealing, which to the average fan that watches San Antonio a lot, they'd be shocked, because this is usually maybe the best surface in the league.
It's just part of the aeration process. They have to make that transition in order to account for the different weather coming in. As you mentioned, you learned a lot about grass. I've been a part of this before, and yeah, it doesn't look the best, but I promise you, the ball rose very true. Better than some of the pitches that you'll see around the rest of the league, and you know, this is a great stadium, great venue, and I'm not concerned whatsoever.
San Antonio has won a corner, and there's Jack Barmby, Manchester United youth player for about 5 years' time, then on to Leicester City, last few years in Portland. Barmby drives the cross. It's a little tug there. Kai Green still has his arms outstretched. Bryant, the teenager, again. Guzman. Effort by Pekka to play it forward. Herrera's made it difficult. to Ryan upfield. Across, nobody home.
Part of the opening 10-minute jitters. We're also accustomed to at any level. But just kind of feel each other out a little bit. San Antonio FC has toyed with a few tactical changes this year. They've gone back into this 3-back system and actually don't mind it. Only concern would be on this left side, Barnby becoming a bit narrow, as you can see.
The ball for Guzman, deflects back.
So right now, as ball rotates back around, there's no one out on this left side. I mean, midfielder has to come all the way back out across. That's Ever Guzman, your center forward, tracking back. And the good news is that he recognizes the space that can be occupied. The bad news is as he steps, everybody has to rotate. So I don't mind it here and there when the guys like to step in a little bit, get out of their comfort zone. But when you come so narrow at times, it's very difficult to get on the end of a ball that should necessarily be in your direction.
Magos couldn't play that on. Khan commits a foul. Khan, who was a draft pick of the Chicago Fire, native of Ghana. At Bowling Green State University. A little talking to here.
Just politely introducing himself to Rosana Mendoza, our referee, early on.
Paso goes to work. Devin, they're the best defense in the league statistically in the West. So this floats downfield. Kisa Vedder making a run down the middle. Looked like a potential handball, but play on. Lost by Pekka. And Bryant was in there too.
They were impressive earlier this year. They had 4 games in a row where they conceded, gotten back on track. 2, and unfortunately that slip up. Just get a look at the battle on the far side against Las Vegas Lights last week.
Yarrow brings it all the way to Matt Cardoni.
And even then in that game, phenomenal performance. Truly, it's kind of, to be honest, what you've seen regularly out of San Antonio FC, where they put together 89 minutes. They switched off for 1 second, and it was a set-piece opportunity for Las Vegas Lights. He said going in, that was something that was actually on their blackboard, that they walked by the dressing room and saw the focal point of their offense. Eric Winaldo's troops able to capitalize. Mark Lowry's couldn't, and they gave up a very uncharacteristic home loss.
Bayonne won the ball off of Forbes. The prodigal son has returned for a year in Phoenix, and Pekka goes into the challenge and wins a free kick. Herrera sliding alongside. Well, here's one of those vaunted set pieces, Devin.
Just hoping that history doesn't repeat itself here. Jack Barnby, a wonder boy with that left foot of his. So dangerous from any direction whatsoever early on. Have to give yourself an opportunity to just put something on frame.
Barnby header. That's up high from Guzman.
This is just Guzman trying to navigate appropriately in traffic. Good ball whipped in. Unfortunately, it's a little bit of a tug on his back shoulder there. No foul. And has to readjust. Hence his form, just pushing it up over the top and easily wide left.
That's a hot one in Texas today. Forbes thought he had taken the ball away, and Rebellon went down. Perhaps Forbes thought too easy for his liking. How about Forbes last year, Devin? It just didn't really work out in Phoenix necessarily. Good moments, but not strung together over the course of the year. It's also hard to get consistent run of games at times.
The way that they were playing. He also had some international duty. When he went away, he lost his spot. Injuries as well.
Maybe a chance to cut that back, and recovered by San Antonio. And quickly, Forbes trying to unleash him up that left-hand wing.
They're just hoping he can regain the form of 2017. We already talked about that 14-game unbeaten to start the year. season in which he had 34 appearances, 10 goals, and 8 assists in all competitions. And you combine what he did last year in Phoenix, or lack thereof, with his inability to produce this year, just a bit one-dimensional in his actions. You'll see a lot he's in one-on-one situations. Liked what they did with him at the beginning of the year, where they actually rotated him to the far side with that left foot of his, and on the right gave him the ability to cut in and distribute, but also have a strike at goal. It's a far cry from that 1v1 stuff, getting down to the byline, just knocking stuff across, and that really hasn't been their game this year. As you can see, like to stand over it a bit more. We said that El Paso Locomotive, the most efficient. San Antonio's no slouch themselves. They're tied for 5th in the league. They can knock it around with the best of them. The problem is, what can you do with it when you get into the final third? They haven't been able to do much.
At 85 degrees, we should avoid those. Well, they're Devon's favorites. I know some people don't care for hydration breaks.
Oh, yeah. Let me tell you.
Oh, yeah, Devon loves them. Forbes. Guzman. It's caught between two minds. Jamison. 10 minutes gone. This game important for El Paso. They can move into second in the West. San Antonio would move all the way up to a tie for 11th. And now they're in 16th. That's how tight things are right now in the Western Conference.
T2 will have something to say about that as they host Reno 1868, and they then have to take on Phoenix Rising this weekend. They've got a rough slate of games. Portland Timbers too.
Time to find out if they're contenders. Salgado. That's a good defensive play to kick that over, but ultimately Salgado's there again. Former top pick in the MLS Super Draft. Wings it out wide. And the service to the back post, headed down, chance now. Salgado couldn't swing through the ball. Herrera got the first touch.
One of the areas that El Paso has to find a way to be better at is be selfish. This ball to the back post could easily be put on the 8x8. Instead, you knock it back. I like the look, but it's become very predictable. They understand that that second, third, and fourth pass is always coming.
Bayonne is perhaps more interesting than it needed to be. 17-year-old on the ball now, Ethan Bryant. Hold up play from Guzman, flicks onward, Forbes. Gallegos trailing behind, Forbes the cross beyond Guzman. Paso getting the ball into the final third here a moment ago. San Antonio quickly back the other way.
We talked about their ability to have great possession as this ball gets knocked in. Just put it on frame. I don't mind it. Again, it's not a bad ball played back. And my issue isn't with that circumstance, it's with traditionally what they've been doing, and they've been doing that on a regular basis. So the trailing run's always there. Switch it up a little bit. Billy Forbes, we just talked about, he can knock it in with the best of them. Unfortunately, no one on the end of it.
El Paso's taking the ball away, and the crowd none too pleased. Tackle inside the penalty area. Kisa Vedder breaking the other way for El Paso. Salgado making a run. Comes to Herrera. Gallegos slides alongside him. Gallegos in pursuit. Another 17-year-old. He debuted in the Open Cup, played so well. He's starting to get some consistent minutes.
They've got quite a slew of them coming through here. Ethan Bryant, Gallegos. Really like Christian Pirano as well. He's on the bench tonight. More of a substitutory role, but Darren Powell telling us that it's not necessarily his talent level. It's just a young pro. They're trying to ease him along. Feel like he's progressing quite nicely. All of the youngsters making full amends with some of their mistakes in the middle of the field. They've helped out in the final third. They were part of that 3-2 comeback against Reno just a few weeks ago, where similar to what El Paso Locomotive experienced versus Vegas, good performance, just couldn't finish things off. That was pretty much the tail of the tape. Opening 45 minutes, 2 sloppy goals, opening 17. But they stood their ground, stuck to their principles, got back into the second half, came out with a 3-2 victory.
Bayonne. the movement has stopped. Kisa Vedder. Jamison couldn't corral that. Rebellon. Richie Ryan. Ryan, it's a foul. Well, let's take a look back at the potential penalty. The crowd certainly thought so.
He's got an arm around him. Pekka just inside the 18, gets in front, leans into it. Not necessarily sure that's warranted to the penalty mark. We've seen it given for less. Trust the referee's judgment on this one.
I think that may have been just a little fraction outside the penalty area too. In the quarter-hour mark. Two teams trying to add some points for the regular season, but in Copa Tejas too. 4 Texas clubs in the USL Championship this year. Good work by Guzman. Becky helped to recover, and now Jamison. Guzman, big push, pointing to the spot. It's a penalty conceded by Becky.
He's laughing with the head referee. You wonder why. You'll get a much better viewpoint as Becky tracking back across here on this near touchline and rotated out. Rebellon was playing very high. As he comes over, just overextended his arm a little bit. You see Pekka just a moment ago. He was unhappy with the referee's decision on the far touchline as he gives an explanation to Richie Ryan. And there's Logan Ketterer as well. As we dive a bit deeper, Guzman, good ball in. It's Bradford Jamison. Watch this, looking for the quick little 1-2, plays it out. Surprised Guzman didn't keep it himself. It's really hard to argue because there is definitely contact and an overextension of that left arm from Drew Becky, their center back, who is so consistent on the back line. Unfortunately, right in front of the referee, points to the spot. Opportunity for Barnby to step up, get them out in front.
Barnby standing over the ball. 4 goals this year. Big moment for Logan Ketterer. Barnby, it's saved by Ketterer. Terrific by the netminders, just making his 16th start in the domestic league. Massive for Ketterer.
Beautifully taken by Barnby. Bottom left corner. Gets a little bit of a rise on it. Even more difficult for Ketterer to get to this. Bit of gamesmanship, left hand up. Still goes to his left either way. Very well done by the goalkeeper. And for Barnby, where does the confidence go now? You know, we say ball don't lie. Don't necessarily think that was true as Becky overstepped himself. El Paso escape one.
Think about Logan Ketterer. He's one of the guys that was instantly targeted by Mark Lowry at the outset. And it's not that he played a lot in Columbus under Greg Berhalter. It's that he trained under Greg Berhalter. Great with his feet. And then there's that guy, Zach Steffen. He just couldn't get a chance to start. Ketterer might be called upon again. San Antonio will cycle around.
And quite interesting. Mark Lowry telling us that I wanted a goalkeeper, center back, and a 6. Feel like he got all of them. Funny how they all had, except for Ketterer, experience with Lowry's old team, Jacksonville Armada. Going back a little bit. He brought over guys that he knew, guys that knew he could fit into his system. And it does give them the ability to play out of the back.
Yarrow didn't keep that in. That was close on the touchline. Boy, he was a long way from home.
Some of that speed coming out of the back. One of the nice additions for Darren Powell with this current back 3, call it a back 4 at certain points in time. Mark Lowry just having a look. Speedster, Yarrow running right by him. Keep an eye with the Locomotive. That ball looks in. They'll definitely maintain possession. We've already discussed that, but to a fault at times, where they'll try and lure you out. And then play in the space behind you. Interestingly enough, Phoenix Rising asked Rich Shantz about that, said, you know, is there anyone when you look around the Eastern or Western Conference that you either admire a certain attribute that their team does or something that a coach brings to the table? He said, it's funny you ask. We want to knock the ball around a lot more. We are not as direct as we were under Patrice Carteron. You're seeing that pay dividends now. He said, we want to play out of the back a little more. You get that out of Zach Lubin. You get that out of Joey Farrell and your sixes and the likes of James Musa or Kevon Lambert, who's away on international duty. And he said, you know where we got that? El Paso Locomotive. He likes, when they came to El Paso, yes, they won 2-0, but he felt like they learned so much and it helped them evolve. You've seen it from their results.
Bryant on the turn. Always nice when you can learn from the 33-year-old dynamic head coach Mark Lowry for El Paso. Ever Guzman slips right by, cut by Raballon. Guzman trying to curl. Comes to Salgado, who wears number 9. That was his initial position, but I love what he brings on the wing. You get a guy like Jerome Kisa, Vedder, who'd been misused on the wing over the years in Germany, who wanted to play as a striker. We've got the perfect mix. And still have a great camaraderie. Throw for El Paso.
Quite interesting how you can tie it all together. We're just referencing the possession coming out of the back, how Rich Shantz of Phoenix Rising took notice of that. April 13th, first game for Keith Vedder. Omar Salgado rotates out onto the wing. That was basically the evolution that needed to happen. That's no disrespect to Omar. Mark Lowry thinks that he's much more suited in the supporting role out on the wing. 100% agree. His ability to use that pace, he's got a huge frame, can just knock guys off the ball and one-on-one with the best of them.
Salgado, it's a bit out of his reach. Salgado, drafted by Vancouver in 2011. Last year was the first signee of El Paso, went to Las Vegas on loan. With El Paso waiting to begin their expansion season in March of 2019. He's an El Paso native and has fit right in. He and his coach have come to a pretty good understanding of one another. El Paso in possession, something they haven't had nearly as much as they would like in the 22nd minute of play. Ryan. Here comes El Paso attacking again. Lost got it forward. Bounce over to Jamison. Jamison on loan from the Galaxy. Away by Herrera. Jamison's recovered. Ball played forward. It's out of the reach of Guzman. He was onside.
Guzman just peeling to this near touchline. The natural left-footed ability of Barmby brought this ball across his body, just peeled away.
Goes Herrera. The challenge of Gallegos. Think Gallegos' teammates at Central Catholic High School are like, you know, I played with that guy. I imagine that's got to be a pretty out-of-body experience. Hello, Central Catholic High School. I know somebody's watching tonight.
Check out his 3-year run. 2017 high school state championship with Central Catholic. 2018, part of the National Championship Classic Elite Soccer, which of course is under the umbrella of San Antonio FC.
Ryan went from a really long way out. Whistles by Cardoni and the post.
You won that national championship 2019. Now you're playing professionally. It's going to have to be a bit better in the middle. Rotate over and help out. Pekka, who's just trailing in the backside of your screen. Someone's got to step. Kai Green holding ground. Let's take a tiny deflection. Referee doesn't see it. Allows San Antonio to gain possession, get an opportunity to move out here. Quite interesting how much they've been on the ball. And both of these teams want to win that possession battle. El Paso unable to do so far.
Bryant. Further for Forbes. Runners are coming, but Forbes nearly pulled it through. Here's El Paso playing out of the back, and this is the risk-taking that you hear about. Now they've got it to their quarterback, Richie Ryan. Everything for El Paso goes through him. Rebellon. Free kick, El Paso.
It's Kai Green coming off the back line, getting stuck in the middle. Andrew Fox just trying to combine. Seeing a lot coming through Richie Ryan. This time it's Kisa checking all the way back. See him come that deep on a regular basis. Don't mind that look either. It's been an interesting little rotation with Chapa, number 20, Luis Herrera, as well as Salgado and Calvin Resende on this near side. Little triangle that's having some fun in the middle. Hasn't produced a lot yet.
Rebellon played for Lowry in 2017 in Jacksonville. Stints with Galaxy 2 and Swope Park Rangers around it for the Colombian. There's El Paso getting an early ball. Kisa Vedder is there! Off the base of the post. Chance down a strike is high from Herrera. I could swear we saw an exact carbon copy of that goal in your pregame telestration, Devin. So close.
Watch out. Tell me this isn't exactly the same thing. Nice rotation out, in behind the back line, right between the center backs, just lacking that little lady luck on the back post. They say it's a game of inches. Yeah, right. Try me. That's millimeters, my friend. Kisa Vedder almost puts him out in front.
How about Kisa Vedder? There was an outstanding article from The Athletic about him, and it indicated that Lowry went through about 5 years, not every game, of course, of tape, looking at where he'd been deployed at previous stops and said, hey, where do you actually want to play? Because we think you fit better as a striker. That's where he wanted to play. That's where he came up through the academy with Hertha Berlin. And ultimately, Dusseldorf, he got promoted into the Bundesliga, and it saw him on the outside looking in. So far, a match made in heaven. El Paso moving into the final third, a little flick back. Kisa Vedder opened his legs and tried to let it through. Ball came a little faster than Gallegos anticipated. Ryan on the turn. Herrera. I wonder if Herrera's got more confidence. He hasn't scored this year, but he didn't miss by much a moment ago. San Antonio trying to break the other way. Guzman pirouettes. Gallegos went for goal. There's an appeal for a handball. Quite simply, like that was self-defense.
Richie Ryan right at the top, helping just ease the tension a little bit. They don't panic a lot. No. It doesn't matter if they're out in front or they're behind. They like to have the ball at their feet. They proved that last week against Las Vegas Lights. Even though they went down, they just stayed true to themselves. It's a foul. Hard one at that. Another look at Kisa Vedder tracking back, trying to get involved in the run of play a bit more. Guzman out to Gallegos. Quick little strike, does it? Yeah, it does, but it's right on the body. Too close to the abdomen to really have the referee blow a foul in that situation. For Kisa Vedder, a guy who, they thought was going to be the heir apparent for the Klinsmann era. Opportunity to get 2 appearances for the men's national team back in 2016. One against Iceland and another friendly against Canada. But to your point, team jumps into the Bundesliga. You start splitting time between the first and second. 35 appearances between the two. Got to find a way to resurrect your career. Funny to say that, he's only 26.
Resende. The ball away. Towards Salgado. Pekka. That in no man's land, and Green on the clearance. Devin, you've been through the ringer in Germany a bit, and you know how the regional league and things can get lost in translation very quickly. And for Kisa Vedder, just out of position. You come up in the academy one way, you play a different way when you get to the first division, and somehow it just didn't totally translate.
You have to realize the different levels there, and I'm not talking about leagues, I'm talking about levels within an organization where he's sitting in a club in Dusseldorf. It's not just the first team, it's not just the second, and the reserves, and the 23s, and the 18s, and you keep rotating down. So you fall out of favor with the manager, you get sent to the second team. You get an injury, you get put onto the reserves. You keep going down and down. The next thing you know, a 15-year-old, a 17-year-old, a 19-year-old is laying and waiting, ready to take your spot. It doesn't matter if you're on contract or not. There are 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 guys lined up to jump in front of you. That's what he ran into.
Every team he played for over there, it's bordering on funny money. Your contract is irrelevant. If you need to be gone, you'll be gone.
They'll find a way to make money off you, whether you fit into their project or not. And yes, obviously they want to develop you and they want to bring you up and nurture that talent because it costs them less. I mean, it truly does. They don't have to go out into the transfer window. Kisa Vedder was one of those guys who came up through Hertha Berlin, made some time with Stuttgart, and then over to Dusseldorf. But again, remember, only 26 years old, so a lot of veteran experience, and still hasn't hit his full maturity. And this is where you're going to hit the peak of your career in that 27 to 30 mark. He's starting to get back into that form. Mark Lowry was blunt. He said, I hope he's not here next year. Yeah. I hope that he's gotten to the point where he has an opportunity to surpass what he's done now and gives himself another chance at the next level.
By the way, USLChampionship.com will have Devin's entire German pronunciation of the Bundesliga next week, if I have anything to say about it.
Was ist los mit dir?
Yeah. The closed captioning just went haywire, you know that. Ball laid onward, Kisa Vedder. Stops, starts, Yarrow. Rebellon went down over the hand of Gallegos.
And the only time in the first half we've seen so far that the field really came into play. You can see the aeration of the sand jump in here as the two try and go, and they just get stuck in a little bit. To be fair, Rebellon trying to plant his foot, go the other way. It actually slows down and impedes the movement by Gallegos, the youngster trying to get a challenge in. Instead, commits a foul. Excellent opportunity for the visitors.
Richie Ryan here, 34 years old, from Ireland. Calling the journeyman would be selling him very short. A phenomenal career that continues in the U.S. now. Ryan. Richie Ryan's made a handful of stops in the U.S. over the last few years. Last year was with FC Cincinnati. It's critical for them. Guzman going all the way to Caterer. Right to Gallegos, taken back by Ross.
Beautiful first touch by Gallegos, trying to find a way to get more than one man going forward. 2, 3, and a triangle. Just break things down for this San Antonio squad, who has backed off of their opening 20 minutes of possession.
Oh, does Resend come away with this? Salgado. Swerving by Bryant. Green. Gallegos. Jamison. Billy Forbes. Forbes. Final product not up to par.
the change in size, though. There's that flip-flop we talked about. Jamison coming near. Billy Forbes going far now. He's been able to help out in his defensive duties, and there's his ability to cut in. Although his ability to put it on frame just got away from him, sails it up over the top. Interesting coming in, brought it up to Mark Lowry of how Jack Barmby taking in that left midfield wingback type role, helping out defensive, tucking in very narrow. Is that an area you want to try and exploit because of how high he can get and kind of hang them out to dry at certain points in time? Said absolutely, we'll go after it. Initially, Salgado, a lot of run of play going through him. That hasn't been the case now. They've started to move towards that far side. And really down the middle as well, going through Richie Ryan. Why, you ask? Notice how deep Jack Barmby's playing. He has basically become an outside marking back right now. Good look going forward just there. San Antonio UFC, 5 guys in the attack, none of which included number 11, Jack Barmby. And even now, deep, right on the touchline, an inability to get involved in the movement going forward is not a good look for San Antonio. Have to find a way to get him involved in the run of play.
There's Barmby making his move inside. Jamison. Guzman. Jamison couldn't drag it through. Gallegos tried to win it. A couple of tight passes for El Paso. They've navigated right through San Antonio. Zend wanted the ball played in front of him. Ryan. Well won, and a foul to boot. Devin, how significant is it for San Antonio to have Pekka healthy on the field and being laterally able to move and receive the ball? It's massive, isn't it?
Gigantic, especially when he's paired up with a 17-year-old in the middle of him in Gallegos. It doesn't matter how good your talent is, still very, very young. Massive amount of experience and veteran leadership in the likes of Pekka, bringing him back. Only his 7th appearance on the year, dealing with a couple knocks at the beginning stage of the 2019 campaign. He's really steadied the ship in the middle of the field. One of the reasons why they've been able to stay in all these games. When you ask Darren Powell what results have been like for him, he said, yeah, we're lacking a little bit. But if you look at what we've done, we've truly been in each and every match. Results show that. Even last week in their game against Fresno, towed the line with the best of them. I mean, a late game heroics from the youngsters and Perano and Guzman couldn't get them back into it. And some of that is slow start at the beginning. Some of that is maybe the consistency over the course of 90 minutes. But they can show that they can compete with the best of them. The problem is the regularity of it all just kind of stood by the wayside.
Yeah, and Darren Powell told us sustaining everything we do, that's the key for 90 minutes. And it's funny because El Paso has the exact opposite deal on the road. They haven't lost on the road yet. And it's one of those things you hear from coaches all the time. If I could put my finger on it, I'd do it all the time. If I could bottle it, I would. They feel like they play the same way home and road. That helps, and they feel like getting in a hotel together and having a clear and concise plan that's been talked over for 2 days is part of why El Paso's been good. But San Antonio's home form has kept them afloat within striking distance tonight of 3 points of the playoff line with a win.
One thing to consider as we do progress towards the playoffs, something for San Antonio FC, battle-tested. A team that has been out in front, closed games out. They've come from behind. They've succeeded. They've been able to draw games. They've really done all of it so far. And I promise you, the manager would much rather have the wins. However, the fact that you've hit the midway point and you've really fulfilled, not expectation, you fulfilled every experience necessary for a team to make a run down into the playoffs. You and I were talking about it off air, that if any one team right now in the Western Conference, based upon personnel and their ability to get results when push comes to shove, San Antonio can be right there come playoff time and they can make a run.
Injured player down for El Paso is Calvin Resend. Spent a year at Virginia and then trialed overseas, ended up at St. Francis University. And after a few years in Miami, on now here to El Paso. Copa Tejas is sort of the hot button issue right now. And Devin, I think it's fantastic. The San Antonio supporters came up with the idea. Talk about welcoming everybody else into the fold, to have all 4 teams in Texas compete for the same trophy. And Darren Powell told us it's got to start somewhere, because all these teams are 10 years old, 5 years old, El Paso 1 year old, and you just hope the gravitas of it develops as you go along. Rivalries are born from things like this.
Someone had to take this and really run with it. And it doesn't matter if it's one club, if it's multiple clubs, had to be someone. Do you think that Man U dislikes their North London club in Arsenal because of just results? No, that's part of it. Rivalries are created for a reason, and it takes time to develop. It's not going to be a year, it's not going to be 5 years. Yes, you hope that in the immediate future it becomes bigger and better, but it had to start somewhere, and you really have to applaud the culture of not only El Paso, San Antonio, Argentina, all the clubs in Texas, but what's going on within the USL Championship in general, and people's ability to step outside their comfort zone, because it's not easy to go, hey, we're going to create a rivalry game on this, we're going to create a Challenge Cup on this, and it's a lot of fun to watch as well. You can see the fans start to go at each other. They have that passion, that camaraderie, the tailgating, everything starts to play out much like it does overseas.
Well, the Four Corners Cup exists as well, that in its first year. New Mexico, an expansion team that gets an early trophy to go chase. Of course, they're also chasing the U.S. Open Cup. Take on Minnesota on the road on the left side.
To do it without Von Frater.
Yeah, I just saw that today. It's shocking, isn't it?
All the card accumulation through this tournament has made the Jamaican take a seat. Troy Lesesne doesn't rotate a massive amount of pieces. They've experienced that before. He said that their recent run of form in league play has to do with the rotation of personnel. More importantly, he got away from really allowing the big names to be on the field all at once. He said, look, I can't sit all 4 of them. I have to have at least 2 or 3. When you look at their losses and their ties, they got away from that.
Bryant has to be knocked out in a dive by Becky. Just picked up a little bit of a knock here. Maybe more than that. Well, this is really concerning. They're yelling for someone to come over and help him. They're calling for a medic. This is really troubling. Well, he's sitting up now, but he was motionless when he first went down.
Ball got knocked back across. Ethan Bryan trying to find a runner right at the top of the 6. Ricky coming across, catches this flat, and it runs down the backside there. Immediately his body reacts. Just goes lame, hoping that just took one off the noggin. Conversation with the training staff. Kisa Vedder coming over, checking on his leader from the back line, Drew Becky.
Becky's sister, Janine, was involved in the Women's World Cup with Canada, and of course had a really difficult moment taking that penalty for the Canadians. And for Drew Becky, he actually dealt with a case of myocarditis while he was trialing overseas. It's a virus that attacks the heart in Sweden. There's a big Kickstarter, GoFundMe for him, and he has been through an unbelievable amount of tragedy and tribulation to get to this point. We spoke with Steve Cook about him last year when he was in Oklahoma City, and he could not say enough nice things about what Drew Becky brings to the table, and you hope that he's okay. Derek Gebhardt has come on in his stead. But all the Beckys, brave as they come. Corner here for San Antonio. Lifted by Guzman, and Ketterer gets swept out. Akan and Ketterer going back and forth. Well, I think there's an appeal from the San Antonio players that there was a swipe up to the face of Akan after the fact. Now, Akan clearly with a foul. It was unnecessary, no doubt.
It's the center back coming up, challenging Logan Ketterer. And yes, it's a foul, but the retaliation by Ketterer cannot happen. Have to keep your wits about you. On the road, 0-0 just before halftime. There's no reason to do this, yet alone right in front of the referee. It's not like this is a transitional move coming at quick pace. This is against set piece opportunity coming from the outside. Logan Ketterer did retaliate, and rightfully so goes into the book. Some front words of encouragement for Logan Ketterer to the referee at the tail end of this. It's a restart from the side. Ball gets knocked in. It'll be a Khan trying to get involved here. He understands. He reached up immediately, said, "My apologies." You can see him going to the goalkeeper. Knew that he was in the wrong. Just trying to push him away. Ketterer throwing not necessarily a punch. There's an outstretched arm. And then coming to his defense, Andrew Fox smartly pushes his goalkeeper away. Did not want that to progress any further.
Dev, it always looks a little harsher when you're wearing those big gloves. Times you could look like a boxer with those on. 5 minutes of added time.
The goalkeepers, they have those finger saves. It's got metal rods in their hands to help them hold the ball. Always love those.
Really?
Absolutely. That's old school technology that is funneled over into.
Oh, just give them brass knuckles while you're at it.
Not every goalkeeper uses them.
Okay.
A lot of people dislike it at certain points in time because their inability to flex a little bit. Yeah. But there are plenty out there who still keep them in their corner.
Learn new things every day. This gets headed out. Select is the official ball supplier of the USL Championship and many of the finest leagues in the world. Since 1947, Select has been the leader in soccer ball quality and innovation. For the latest Select products and special offers, please visit selectsportamerica.com. 4 more minutes of added time in this first half of Wednesday night soccer from San Antonio, Texas. Bryant put under pressure. Ball lofted across, the net was open. Cardoni trying to recover. And Herrera is pushing up backside. Eric Gebhardt, the recent substitute, was at the back post.
There's been a amount of rotation for El Paso Locomotive. We'll break that down at halftime. Exactly all the space being occupied now. Lovely ball in by Salgado. Gebhardt just mistimes it. And he gets it all wrong here on the back post. Opportunity wasted for sure.
Dribbling through, Akan. Ball whistled forward, Guzman. It's an expert touchdown. Forbes. Bounces back, Gallegos. Ball whipped in. Tapped by Barnby. Pekka. Coming up at halftime, highlights, stats, news and notes from around the championship. Landon Donovan is a team owner now in the USL Championship in San Diego. How exciting. Kicked away from Forbes. Along with Warren Smith, the Sacramento Republic executive in Southern California. When does California get their own cup?
When you get your own team. That'll be another one, I'm sure, is just waiting. Got to be right around the corner with all the talent. Golden State.
Barnby, header back. Akan's second effort is well out of play.
San Antonio fighting back a bit just before halftime. A couple chances that have been half at best. Roll back out. First header not bad. The Akan. Second one, well, that's probably why you play on the back line, unfortunately. Don't worry, buddy, I've been there.
He had 5 goals last year at Bowling Green State. How many goals do you have in your men's league?
If I could play in a men's league right now, I would, trust me.
I'm looking at these knees, they're swollen, Chief. From carrying me all day, without doubt.
It's just the one set of stairs. That'll help me get up and down tonight.
Bryant. El Paso defending again with Salgado. Well done by Salgado. Zend, Salgado. El Paso team that can string together 40, 50 passes. Release their venom.
Closing out the first half here, we'll give you an idea of what El Paso is going into in the second half, barring any other changes. James Kiffey has occupied Drew Becky's spot. Resend has gone to the left back, Salgado to left mid, Derek Gephardt to right mid. All is right in the world.
Did you write those down?
It's a whirlwind.
The effort by Gallegos comes up short. 20 seconds here for El Paso to maybe get one more lick here. Teams that statistically have not scored a lot of goals this year. Hasn't been there at times. Not that they haven't been knocking on the door. And despite a penalty conceded quarter of an hour in, good save by Logan Ketterer. And we go to halftime scoreless. Barnby, the best chance of this opening half, the former English Youth International, from the penalty spot. Ketterer comes up with a crucial save for El Paso as Locomotive try and continue their outstanding road form. 45 in the books. It's been all over the place in this first half. San Antonio, the best chance individually to score off the penalty, but El Paso, a couple good looks in the run of play. We've got highlights, stats, news and notes, all coming up. Halftime of Wednesday night soccer, San Antonio and El Paso. Copa Tejas match, scoreless from Toyota Field in San Antonio. Welcome back into our booth. That's Devin Kerr. Devin Kerr's tie on Mike Watts. Devin, this first half, we talked about how El Paso can string passes together. Their accuracy on the ball is very impressive. Felt like that was San Antonio we were talking about.
So El Paso played San Antonio's game. San Antonio played El Paso's game.
Right.
That's what these two teams are good at. They want to put it down and move it side to side. But what can you do when you try and stretch it vertically going forward? We've seen in the past the tail of the tape, proving true once again. 12% and 13% of conversion rate. They have to find a way to make it a bit more spectacular in the final third. Kisa Vedder is the focal point for El Paso. He's clipping at 37%. Can San Antonio find that up top as well? Neither team really looking that great in the final third.
Yeah, remains to be seen. Now, Louisville and Cincinnati just played in the Open Cup, and USL put together a nice documentary on that. You'll see that in just a moment, but first, allow me to be the first potentially to tell you about USL Championship San Diego. For almost 2 decades, San Diego has been waiting for a professional soccer club it can call its own. Now led by leading soccer executive and co-founder of Sacramento Republic FC, Warren Smith, and legendary United States men's national team player Landon Donovan, its club has arrived. The USL Championship is coming to the University of San Diego's Torero Stadium, bringing all the excitement of the fastest growing league in North America to one of the top soccer markets in the United States.
All right, gentlemen. I don't think we need to kind of review what this game means, but it is a really important opportunity for us. I think it's an important opportunity for you guys in a lot of ways. Goal is to advance in the US Open Cup by beating Cincinnati. It is that simple. Any questions? Let's go, gentlemen. Let's go.
It's more than just the two clubs. There's a bit of an angst between the cities, quite frankly. You can feel it.
There's just so much on the line. We're in the 3rd year now of seeing FC Cincinnati with, you know, a lot of big moments that have happened and history built up.
Last year we came here twice and we won both games. Dealing with the crowd, the pressure, I think is one advantage that we'll have as we've dealt with it.
4th round of the 2019 Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup, the site of the renewal of one of the great budding rivalries in U.S. soccer, FC Cincinnati. Now the big dog from Major League Soccer hosting Louisville City FC, a rainy Nippert Stadium, the perfect place, Lorena, to renew the River City rivalry.
Sam Warner, the beauty.
Jamal Johnson, he only knows bangers.
Look at Taylor moving up. And Taylor, what a beautiful strike. Are you kidding?
Jamal Johnson from distance.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
A great save from C.J. Cochran.
Scoreless in San Antonio. Wednesday night soccer on ESPN News with Devin Kerr, Mike Watts. Let's take a look at the news and notes from around the USL Championship. You heard it here first, or maybe you heard it earlier in the week. Landon Donovan is bringing San Diego professional soccer as early as 2020, might be 2021. Wednesday night soccer, we are next on ESPN 3 and 11 p.m. Eastern time start. Sacramento and Fresno do not like each other. That I'm sure of. And Devin, North Carolina FC, this is a real statement of intent. Another one from their owner, Steve Malik, all the way down their organization. They mean business.
This state, let's start there, has always been a hotbed for talent in this country. And now they're just nurturing it a bit more, and you start it at the collegiate levels, Wake Forest, North Carolina, Duke, and NC State. It's all there. Dave Sarachan comes over to North Carolina FC. Captain America, Austin Deleuze is still there. They're getting results. Why not take that next step? Awesome rendering. If you hadn't had the opportunity, jump over to their Instagram, jump over to their Twitter page. Beautiful what they've put together for an opportunity for the future.
Yeah, brilliant potential soccer-specific stadium, just like Toyota Field. Always draws good crowds. And these San Antonio FC fans have taken to this club. We've got your first half highlights coming up after this on Wednesday Night Soccer. Wednesday night soccer on ESPN News, San Antonio and El Paso at halftime. Mike Watts, Devin Kerr, here are the highlights. And it really begins about 15 minutes into this match, Devin. Drew Becky commits a foul just inside the penalty area. San Antonio a chance to jump in front.
Just after that rotation we were looking for between Jamison and Billy Forbes. Jamison comes to the near touchline, trying to get on the end of this one too. Drew Becky trying to make friends. No, not going to happen, buddy. But what a save. Phenomenal bailout by Logan Ketterer. Guess is right. We talked about the gamesmanship. Regardless, Barmby puts together a good penalty, Good save by the goalkeeper. Moving forward, Richie Ryan has a go from distance. Don't mind this look. Have to keep the goalkeeper honest. Cardoni has not a lot of action on him. I mean, honestly, he hasn't. It's been half chances. This was the best one, though. We talked about it coming in. Can you find a way to isolate Kisa Vedder when he knows that he's at his best? That's in between the back line. Get in between those center backs. Use the speed, use the vision. He thinks he's got it right. It's just a few millimeters off.
Just a few millimeters indeed. Ready for the second half of play between San Antonio and El Paso. Two coaches with incredible respect for one another. Two teams that are hoping that with time, this will gradually become one of those regional rivalries that are the crux of the championship's growth. Underway, second half. San Antonio 16th in the West, but they've been very good at home despite losing 7 of their 8 on the road. The win, they would be tied for 11th, so a huge jump in their future if they can find a game winner tonight. El Paso 3rd in the West. A win puts them in 2nd, pending a late result for Portland. And an early foul midfield from Pekka.
Quality sportsmanship shown by Richie Ryan to Pekka, as they both know they were going for the ball here. It's just those laces up underneath. Richie Ryan on the follow through by Pekka for San Antonio FC. Got to find a way to not let history repeat itself with their second half performances, both on the offensive and defensive side of things. Their better showings have been in the first half. Scored 22 goals this year, only 9 have been in the second. They've given up quite a few, 27. There's that negative goal differential coming back into play, 17 of which have come in the second. So as the 45 minutes starts to progress, in the second portion here, they get away from what they're really good at. They have shown their ability to come back recently. They just hope that they're not behind when they really start to kick into gear.
Ross orchestrating. Mentioned it in the first half. We'll mention it again here. There's a grass transition that has to happen every year. These facilities in the heat of Texas, where they go from a winter ryegrass to a summer Bermuda grass, and as a result, the transition is ongoing right now. It's maybe not aesthetically the best. However, large in part, this game is played pretty true, and the field is going to be pristine as it typically is sooner than later. Kisa Vedder. Kisa Vedder pointing forward, wanted the ball there. Pekka faces up. Resend caught by Cardoni. First save he's had to make.
We said he didn't have a lot of action in the first half. Some balls floated in, some strikes from distance. This time he really has to get behind it. Good technique by the goalkeeper.
Down by Jamison. Slipping for Bryant. And that's cleared. For San Antonio, this is the beginning of a 3-game homestand. They'll take on Austin. So you think about it, in about a week's time, they could be top of Copa Tejas if everything goes their way. And they'll take on Cardiff City. They always bring a good opponent in. Is this knocked away from Jamison? A big international friendly. Typically play quite competitively in those as well.
Seen a couple international squads coming over, whether it be from Europe, the likes of English clubs. I believe it was Hertha Berlin here earlier this year, playing Minnesota United, if I'm not mistaken, right? They had a friendly going on.
Yep. And they played. They played a couple of teams while they were over here.
Yep. Tail end of last year, Lyon was playing Fresno.
Yeah.
Just south of the border. It's a good opportunity for the USL Championship squads.
That was a draw, by the way, a 1-1 draw.
And it's nice to see them when they're at their best and those teams coming over to challenge a little bit. So at the top of their game, seeing exactly what it takes to be with some of the bigger boys outside of the States.
San Antonio actually played Santos Laguna last year. Beat them 2-1. I asked Darren Powell how great it was to be on the sideline beating a League MX team that, to be fair, is in their early formative preseason stage. He said, I wasn't there. I was working on my coaching license. He goes, I was so excited in my hotel room, though. Ball from Salgado. A bounce out for an El Paso corner.
Darren Howell screaming and screaming from afar. Just imagine the knocks on the door from the hotel staff. Sir, you're gonna have to keep it down, please.
Fell behind in that game and then scored a minute later, and Guzman scored in the 80th minute, and all of a sudden a crowd of over 7,000 watched San Antonio beat Santos Laguna. Resend comes out 5 minutes into the second half, and Sebastian Contreras comes on. That's the second change for El Paso, the first necessitated due to what initially looked like a very scary moment for Drew Becky, who's replaced by Derek Gebhardt in the first half. Corner El Paso. Lifted away by Jamison. Further by Gallegos. Here's Forbes. Forbes trying to turn the speed on. He gave up on it thinking the foul was going to come, and Rebellon will trot over and collect.
Billy Forbes just needs to continue on here. If it's a foul, referee will blow it. He'll play advantage, and when it gets away from you, he'll blow the foul. If not, you're in alone. So why not continue the progression there?
Bryant. Forbes. Beat Salgado this time. Forbes! Just a touch from Ketterer to steer it wide. Forbes 1 goal this year, 3 the year before, but 10 for San Antonio in a great start in 2017.
This is that movement from the right side that we have come to know and love. They've gotten away from it, and why? He's so good when he cuts in on that left foot of his. Keep an eye on that matchup as well. Looks like Salgado has gone to the left back position.
All wound across, header from Green. And play whistle back as it bounced out to Contreras.
Actually don't mind this shove by Kai Green, as any San Antonio player. We're condensing this half. El Paso looking to go quickly in transition. Real high, well done by Billy Forbes again. Instead that you just have to find a way to get him out of that one-on-one linear movement that we saw on that left side, where basically he's going to go down, go to the byline, knock it back across. This gives you an added dimension. He can cut in, he can still bring in and cut it back. Every now and then he'll keep you second guessing, go to that right foot, though not his strongest. Just gives you a different look.
Mentioned last year some international duty. Forbes, the pride of Turks and Caicos. Scored a couple goals in Nations League qualifying, the eventual road to the Gold Cup. And of course, for El Paso, I lost Mishak Jerome to what looked like a pretty significant injury for Haiti. Haiti, who won their group by beating Costa Rica in the Gold Cup this week. And Jamaica won their group with seemingly, is it 9 players from the championship on their roster? And has a foul from Contreras.
It was an interesting ending to their game yesterday.
Woof. Barmby. Oh, comes free for Jamison. Swarmed, went down. No foul awarded. And it's quick up the other way. Yarrow trying to hold Kisa Vedder off. Kisa Vedder went down. No foul from Yarrow. If I didn't know any better, I would say there's a decent number of El Paso fans in the building.
The 8th notch, making themselves very well known with discontent for the referee's lack of decision here. Kisa Vedder, end-to-end stuff between El Paso and San Antonio FC. Radford Jamison on the other end's got to release the ball. Good opportunity at the top. Cuts it back across, hit it right there. Hit it with your left foot and release it. Much like what's gone on for Cardoni, Logan Ketterer hasn't had a lot of call to order. And then Kisa Vedder on the other side, hold up play, just gets stepped on a little bit there. There's a trailing leg. the defending unit of San Antonio FC. With the way things were running, not necessarily sure the referee was willing to blow the foul, and he obviously went that direction.
Kisa Vedder makes his way off. I was asking, initially I said to Mark Lowry, this can be off the record if the answer isn't good. Sometimes you hear stars make their way into a team and they don't quite fit with the rest of the puzzle pieces. He goes, no, it's on the record. Kisa Vedder's been great. He's a professional. When he doesn't score in practice, it's all over his face. And the way to my heart, and surely his teammates too, is that against LA Galaxy 2 a couple weeks ago, he said if we go and win on the road, Gallegos, more on that in a moment, Gallegos has it stripped away. He's back on the ball now. Total chaos. Cleared away. Throw for San Antonio. Kisa Vedder promised and did come through with Chick-fil-A for the whole team.
It's not the way to my heart. You think I don't eat?
You're more of a PDQ man, aren't you?
At this rate, I'm more of a carrot and Brussels sprout guy, unfortunately.
You know, that wedding diet is carried over.
Wedding diet has taken over my life. How about a look by James Kiffey? Good job rotating in. He was the one who broke up that push by Gallegos right in the middle of the field. Guy who started outside has moved in next to Andrew Fox.
Jamison still. Rebayon really battling for El Paso. And a throw for SAFC. San Antonio, the talk of the league 2 years ago. On the outside looking in at present. They asked Darren Powell if he had felt some pressure early on when the results weren't going his way. He said, nobody puts more pressure on me than me. Jamison goes back. But ultimately, he said, we're spending every hour trying to get better. Sometimes the results just don't spin your direction. Devin, you said it at the outset. They've had some really bright moments on the road, and it just hasn't resulted in wins. Forbes on the cut in. Slides it out. Bryant crossing. Didn't have enough on that to find Guzman at the back post. Corner.
Let's stay in that area because you're starting to see it now in this second half. It's not for lack of trying, and it's not for lack of opportunities. I mean, this is a team that is producing. Unfortunately, they just can't find any closure. That goes back to that efficiency rating we talked about. It doesn't matter what you do with the ball going side to side. When you progress 20 to 30 yards from goal, how do you become the game changer? How do you find a way to break the leadlock and get through on a regular basis? This kid can help you do it. Christian Pirano, a bright star for San Antonio FC. Loved what he was able to do from the substitute role against Fresno in their last game out.
And they love bringing him in as a sub to use that energy. Ball to the top of the 18. It bounced up on Bryant. Kisa Vedder, who returned to the game. Pushing forward, drops to ground through the challenge of Green, and then Barmby got a hand extended up high. Barmby will go back and make good here. Doesn't escape the eventual card as Herrera sort of thrust his neck back.
Challenged by the Englishman. Kisa Vedder tracking back once again. Gets the first knock by Kai Green. Army just warding the attack off. El Paso Locomotive had numbers here. Chapa trying to get the attack going. That's one thing that you really haven't seen that much of. They have the ability to go forward and go in transition. That hasn't been the case. And that's what I talked about. When they try and play out of the back, sometimes they get in their own way. Just allow this movement going forward. Ride this wave at certain points in time, and they don't do it. They pull off the gas more often than not. And yes, I understand that can work for you, but your ability to constantly change things up, keep this back line guessing, is a reason why other teams like Phoenix Rising, like T2, have success in that level. They don't necessarily stay true to themselves all the time. You stick with your philosophy, just step outside of your tactics.
Jamison trying to hold this in. Ultimately gets out for a throw. Hey, fans, you can follow San Antonio, El Paso, The rest of the USL Championship all season long on ESPN Plus. It's your home, the USL Championship, USL League One, MLS, UFC, and more. Join the over 2 million sports fans who are discovered ESPN Plus. You can watch the championship live every week. Sign up today, ESPNplus.com. Ryan trips over the ball. We're an hour in. Typically, this is the best pitch in the championship, but transition from a winter grass to a summer grass, which all those with a green thumb understands much better than I do. Still in that transition phase, so as a result, it's had an impact from time to time. 17th minute, Jack Barmby had his penalty saved by Logan Ketterer. Only a couple shots on target in this game, although it has moved at a good clip. Both teams over 250 passes in that first half. Devin certainly ping it around. It's a chess match when these teams meet.
Sometimes just watching that clock go round and round isn't always the most fun. That's where we're at right now. They're really losing a bit of an angle over here on this left side with Skippy going to the back line. James Skippy so involved in the run of attack going forward. Talked to Mark Lowry about it. He really turns into a three-back system with his movement going up. There's a bad giveaway.
And clipped off to the far side. It's at the feet of Gebhard. Now Kisa Vedder. Ryan. Finally the turning effort rising. But over the goalmouth. Contreras going for goal, the second half substitute.
He's not afraid to shoot. Look at all these opportunities. Lay that off. Richie Ryan can hit it. Quick little turn. Very creative. I really like what he's done since coming on, the Argentine. Those are those movements we talked about where you just have to find a way to be a bit more 2- and 3-dimensional here. Remember, all innovation requires an element of an open mind. You don't always have to follow what you've done before. And that's that philosophy we talked about where, yes, you want to maintain possession. Yes, you want to go to side and break a team down, but switch it up. That quick little movement across the body and release is something we haven't seen from El Paso and need to see more of.
Parano, the Argentine who's come on as a substitute. Barmby pointing toward the spot and rather looking back for a dive embellishment from Barmby. That's his second yellow card. He's going to be sent off for a dive. I don't know I've ever seen that.
You can hear the shout from the Crocketeers and Mission City Firm not agreeing with Rosendo Mendoza. Let's take a better look. There's that ball in. Billy Forbes come back across the body. That's tough, very tough to tell. Here's a better angle as he brings this back across. Does he catch him? No, he doesn't. 100% simulation. Many a person will tell you, if you're going to make a decision here to change the game, you better be sure the referee does get this decision right. He's 100% correct in his actions. Darren Powell can't agree with it. If you're going to call this in the 35th minute, you have to call it approaching the 65th minute. It's interesting, though, that he does come as the second yellow, sending him off.
Do you ever remember seeing a second yellow being for simulation?
Never.
I'm in absolute shock.
I barely get to see one for the initial threat, yet alone the second. And it's a topic of conversation that, I promise you, the home fans are not going to be happy with my opinion. I understand that. But if you want regular refereeing and you want, in this game, to get away from the bad nature that is diving and simulation and the movement going forward that comes off of a tackle that never happens, examples have to be set. There has to be a protocol fallen. Whether you agree with it or not, that is the right decision by the referee.
foul El Paso. So San Antonio plays down to 10 the rest of the way. And Jack Barmby has had a very difficult day. He missed a penalty. Great save at that. And he's sent off for a second yellow. Forbes! Forbes!
They're going to do it with 10 men. It's like Billy Forbes willing to step up, see if he could be the one to change this scoreline. Once again, just cutting back. Have to wonder how many times Omar Salgado is going to fall for that movement coming back in. It's something that needs to happen for Billy Forbes. Next time around, bring this back on the right. Fake the shot, bring it back across. Promise you Salgado will bite.
Truthfully, knowing that he was already on a yellow card, you just assume the referee is pointing to the spot in that moment. And I do agree, the more I think back to that, I think it's harsh, but it is the right call. And I'm a big believer in you have to make the same right call all the time, anywhere on the field. I think that's something that gets swept over too often.
That's one of the most difficult decisions a referee will have to make in any game. And more often than not, we see that bypassed. We don't see it called. We don't see a card given. And if you want players to stop behaving in that manner, you have to set a precedent. That's exactly what went on here. Because I promise you, how many other games have you and I sat here and you see it from fans on social media, you hear it from fans in the stadium, they would be adamant that he needed to be booked in that situation.
Herrera. Toronto. Toronto's down. Referee is saying play on. San Antonio isn't right now. El Paso almost seems shocked. Kisa Vedder. Followed by 2. Well, if you're San Antonio, you have to keep your cool at this moment of the game. Forbes, there's room out here. You can see the People's Court has made their judgment. It's quickly become a difficult environment for the referee.
See Billy Forbes chasing. When you get down to 10 men here, maybe don't overextend yourself. Sometimes just sit back. You did a good job keeping them down in that corner. Don't have to chase every single pass. Yes, you can play a high line and move into the corner, but just allow everybody to sit defensive. Don't always have to win that one-on-one battle. Make them play out, challenge them.
Toronto going one-on-one. Forbes. Pascal Abusi has made his way to the 4th official. He'll be in a moment. Toronto. Do wonder just how much San Antonio is going to be aggressive here. Bryant, they've got the look they want now. Bryant swings the cross. Rebellon.
Not a bad ball at all for Jamison. Not necessarily on the same page, though.
It's a leading touch. It's recovered by a con.
Darren Powell's giving you an idea of exactly how unaggressive he's going to be with Jack Barmby being thrown out. Looks like Guzman's going to come off. Pascal Abusi will come in. That'll almost immediately put Ebia Khan to that outside back position. Abusi onto the back line next to Josh Yarrow and Kai Green. Just solidify that back 5 they had going before the Englishman was thrown out.
Forbes. trying again out of Brandeis High School in San Antonio. Say he's got an excellent soccer brain. We have a handful of players for San Antonio taking advantage of that pathway. You think about the organization that owns San Antonio FC. It's Spurs Sports and Entertainment. And is there any organization in pro basketball that better develops players from low-round draft picks, undrafted free agents, turning them into key cogs in a championship-winning machine? The same thought process for San Antonio. Abusi's coming on. Darren Powell giving us his team talk. And Ever Guzman's coming out.
Pretty sure a young man by the name of Kawhi Leonard could have something to say about that. Under the tutelage of Pop.
And Nick Nurse.
Yeah, there you go. Quite interesting with Popovich that he's actually voted the manager that everybody would be most likely to play for if they had the opportunity to go anywhere. They want to go play for him. That's a testament to not only his coaching ability, but also the organization, which of course funnels over to San Antonio FC. And you see that from bottom to top, how they have veterans they bring in, and the likes of Pekka, who's obviously been here for a bit of time now, youngsters in Cardano, Gallegos, Ethan Bryant, guys in the middle of the road, guys like Josh Yarrow, who were high draft picks. Maybe things didn't necessarily work out for them at their last stop. And there's that rebirth we talked about. I'm sure Kisa Vedder could have similar say, though not in this organization.
Well, those young players for San Antonio, they're getting a chance now. They feel are on a perfect platform to show as their academy moves forward. And you think about USL Academy and what kind of impact that could make in years to come. Salgado. Salgado, not by Green. Green kept it in. It's out for a throw, but it comes from Tim Holt. And the management for Spurs Sports Entertainment runs through San Antonio, but with that comes expectation of a playoff level team year in and year out. This is a San Antonio team that, despite being well beneath the playoff line at present, at least optically, less so if they find a way to win tonight.
Talent's there.
Yeah, they still feel they can be special.
Talent is 100% there. Seen it tonight as well. They can maintain possession, provide you some glimpses, not a lot, but some glimpses down into this offensive end.
But Darren Powell went through Orlando City's youth setup for a while. Same could be said for Mark Lowry. That's where the two coaches met, became close friends. Uh-oh, Jamison couldn't get that last touch through.
It's James Skippy once again coming into the aid of Andrew Fox. First touch wasn't the worst, to be honest. Unfortunately, it was in the wrong direction. Needs to be out in front of him. Kept it in decent proximity to his body. Bradford Jamison read it well and had an opportunity. Once again, James Skippy has done so well moving into that central defensive role.
John Arlia is the great writer for USLChampionship.com. He's seemingly everywhere at once. More on that in a moment. El Paso reaching the end of the field. There's a run coming. It's Contreras. Chimes in as Jack Barmby got a second yellow for simulation. Victor Moses had the same thing happen to him in the FA Cup final, Chelsea Arsenal, a couple years ago.
Who?
Oh, okay. All right, okay. All right, settle yourself.
He's right, though.
Yeah.
To be honest, it's back to the same point.
It's rare, but it does happen. Right between the center backs. Kisa Vedder fighting his way through. And Vedder in this instance. He's gotten a corner out of this. When you play with three backs, you're really going between a true fullback in Kai Green and a center back in Yarrow.
Definitely space to be had. That's exactly where he's at his best. We said ball out in front, able to dissect him. More on these long balls coming from the outside channels.
Dev, I'm not sure I saw Kai Green playing a 3-back at RGV the last few years.
Never happened, not once. He never got the opportunity to play for the Houston Dynamo under Wilmer Cabrera either. It was interesting coming into 2018. Jerson Echeverry telling us that he was high on the Dynamo's radar. Just never made it through. A couple injuries that didn't allow him to do it. And you can see both his time at Seton Hall and now that he's not used to it. However, massive amount of athletic ability, saving Kai Green at certain points in time. Just feel like El Paso is right on the doorstep with Kisa Vedder breaking through.
Gomez replaces Chapa Herrera. Herrera played in a Alianza de Football tournament in El Paso. And Mark Lowry said in the press release when he was signed, he must have run 5 kilometers and lost the ball 0 times that weekend. That's how you earn a pro contract when you don't know who's watching. Injured player down, and it's just another instance of Pekka picking up a knock.
You can see him reach into that backside of his hamstring. A bit awkward in his movements as Darren Powell has a chat with the 4th official. Still frustrated with the decision.
Paso's used their 3rd substitute now. Corner for the Locomotive. Kiffy. Knocked straight back. Another chance here for Kiffy. Launched to the back post. Steered out. It'll sit kindly for Rebayon. Bounces into Cardoni. Ambitious, perhaps speculative effort.
Quite interesting call by the Ghanaian Ebi Akan here. He wants everybody to step out. No one goes with him, so he wins the initial header, but no one in front. Not Pirano or Bryant willing to come out and help on the defensive side of things. It's the long distance opportunity.
It's good to see him back in the game. Pekka. Pirano. Pekka. Turn from Forbes. Switched back onto the left-hand flank. Green. Ibusi. Bryant. Bit of skill didn't come off. Kisa Vedder. Turned away by Yarrow. His frustration seems to have amped up this crowd. But Yarrow making this run. Forbes slides that along. There's Ketterer.
Notice Bradford Jamieson here, just idly standing by as an innocent bystander. Good movement out of the back. Yarrow knows where Billy Forbes is going to be. Flip-flops once again. Why isn't he crashing this near post run? Just standing 10 yards outside the box, down to 10 men. When you make these movements going forward, it is a lot of emotion and a lot of energy that in situations like that is wasted. If you're gonna go forward, have to communicate, find some sort of cohesive unit to go together. Even though it's only a 2-man game, that's a wasted chance. Jamieson starts to crash on the near post on the ball by Billy Forbes. They can really challenge Logan Ketterer.
Run from Gebhard. Chance here for service for El Paso. Chested down. Appeal for a handball. for El Paso. The ball's lost, an attempt to go the other way by Pirano. And a tug at Contreras.
Pirano lucky that 2 fouls consecutively right in front of Rosendo Mendoza. Doesn't pick up a yellow here as San Antonio has another man down in the middle of the field. There's Pekka motioning for a substitution. You talked about him going down, coming back on. Nice to see him. Unfortunately, it looks like he's going to have to step to the wayside. Kisa Vedder bringing this down. It's in next to the body. Great decision by the referee. Had some really tough calls tonight. You can't say anything because it's tucked in right on the abdomen.
I think the most difficult call he made isn't necessarily the simulation. It was the penalty by Becky in the 16th minute. I think that one was really the one that, one is a case of intestinal fortitude. The call for simulation for a second yellow, but Evan, I get the feeling you agree that large in part our referee has done a very good job with a very difficult set of circumstances tonight.
Everything that's come in front of him. It's really handled quite well as Pekka will now take a seat. These guys are ridiculed on a regular basis. Actually quite impressed with what Mendoza has been able to really see out, to be honest. Really tough decisions over the entirety of this match. Now their captain taking a seat. Saw a couple looks on the sideline. Thought we were going to have a Carson Price sighting. It looks like we still are. Another one of the youngsters out of that classic elite, where he'll spend the fall with UNC Charlotte.
18 years old from San Antonio. This is his USL Championship debut. He has played in the Open Cup. So 76. These gray and black jerseys is thrust right into the fire here. Ross steered away. This is hammered over the crossbar.
There you go. You want to change that conversion rate? Let's pull the trigger, change things up a little bit. Like this quick little turn. Left shoulder, Josue Gomez just unleashes. This is what you need. The different looks all night long. Every single time that they have got away from what they are regularly putting forth in the offensive third, it is providing them an alternative look. And it's proved nice. Haven't been able to close it out, but it's exactly what they need going forward.
Gebhard was trying to push in. Interchange from Contreras breaks down, recovered by Ross, out of the reach of Gebhard. Both these clubs built on the foundation of their Texas fans. For El Paso, so close to the border, it was a major drawing point for Mark Lowry. Wanted to go somewhere where he'd be challenged, where fans are passionate. It's not a guarantee, you know. He's been really impressed by the way that the media and the fans have taken to it. With more intense media coverage, occasionally comes a little more media criticism. He is ready for that too. Viewed it all part of a challenge. And tune in, ESPN 3. Another couple tough as nails coaches. July 3rd, 11 p.m. Eastern time, Wednesday night soccer. Couple premier clubs out in the West. Playoff position on the line. Sacramento Republic FC and Fresno Football Club in the Highway 99 Derby. Catch all the action July 3rd on ESPN 3. Simon Frazier, who could give you a good two-footed tackle tomorrow if he felt like it. Adam Smith, who's done a great job building up Fresno after an expansion year where they fell just short of the playoffs. That's where San Antonio was last time out, that 3-2. It's a little bit of a snooze in the first half. 3-2 the final. Salgado shoved to ground. Set piece coming for El Paso.
3 or 4 of those goals were in the span of 13 minutes as well. It was just, all bets are off in the second half.
And I mean, we're talking screamers. Jamal Johnson.
Does he score anything else?
No.
I joked with Adam Smith. I said, what do you have to do to get him to just score normal goals? I said, I know. Put a clause in his contract. He said, what, do you want him to score normal goals? I said, maybe he'll score more of them. You never know.
We've got Robert Earnshaw, the great former player. This is a steer down off that corner. Robert Earnshaw is an assistant coach leading the way there too. So Wednesday night soccer is going to be a lot of fun. It's a good way to kick off your 4th of July break from work. Join us on Wednesday night, and Thursday go enjoy some time with the family. San Antonio with 5 minutes left here. Try and see this out down a man. El Paso currently still in line to keep their unbeaten run on the road intact in their expansion season. Salgado, another game in which El Paso has not conceded. 13 goals allowed. That's best in the West, where it's far more loosey-goosey than the East. Contreras. Busi dribbles out. At this point, Devin, if you're San Antonio, see this thing to the finish line. Gebhardt shown a yellow card.
You'll take the point for sure, especially the way results have gone. But I promise you this, with just a few minutes left, they're not done. They could go steal something here. I understand that Barmby stepped off after that second yellow for simulation, gone down to 10 men. Good look at Evie Khan on the far side, Derek Gebhardt. But they have had opportunities. I want Billy Forbes, Bradford Jameson. Really like to see Pirano get a look at goal. Capable ball striker. El Paso, all the times that they've been able to thwart off the attacks on the defensive side. Their offensive unit has only been kept at bay twice this year. Once, March 16th on the road. Real Monarchs, that was a 0-0 draw, and then again, 0-0 April 21st at the very defensive-minded Marcelo Serrano squad in Austin Bold FC. Something that they're not accustomed to having to deal with.
On away, Price. There's a foul just beyond the halfway line. And as El Paso gets forward here, chance for Richie Ryan and the Locomotive to have something here for full time. Fans, the USL unveiled its elite youth platform, USL Academy. It allows clubs at all levels across the USL to develop its local youth, compete at the highest level across the U.S., including the USL Academy Cup. Header down, that's not very convincing. Gebhardt kept it off of a Khan who kept it in. Anywho, USLsoccer.com/academy for more information. El Paso 2 minutes plus added time. Try and grab a goal while they're up a man. As they've been going back to the 63rd minute. San Antonio would love to score one here against the run of play. Correctly given a throw to San Antonio.
That's your man of the match right there, James Skippy. Everything that has been asked of him. I understand it's 0-0, but his ability to play the attacking role, play the marking back, rotate back inside to the center back. He's easily saved 3 chances that could have ended up in the back of the net, not including that one right there.
Busi says no to that select ball. He'll take this one instead. Iffy won a championship with an expansion team, Sacramento Republic, in 2014. Giffey was crucial to that run. Settled the left back job for Preki near the end of the season. He hopes to have an expansion dream fulfilled for a second time. So El Paso throws in their own half. Contreras allowing Salgado. Contreras. Contreras gets by Price. Contreras flicks ahead. Chance for El Paso. Cardoni off his line to deny Gebhard.
Matt Cardoni taking offense to my comments about James Skippy. He said, yeah, anything he can do, I'll just one up it. It's not going to be better, it's going to be best. The goalkeeper once again stepping out, coming off his line, challenging Derek Gebhard. It's the pressure pack situation, just coming down to the stretch that you want out of your talisman on the back line.
How about this? All the fouls, the injuries, 6 minutes of added time. And the flag is up for this.
What's crazy to me is the possession numbers when you start to look at them right now. First half, at one point in time, was nearing 70% for San Antonio. That dulled off towards the start of the second half, of course.
It was 51-49 at the half.
Right now, El Paso only carrying 52% possession up a man. Shame. It's a shame. It's impressive how San Antonio has been good with just 10 men.
Forbes kept that on the turnstile. Jamison stabbed back and away from Bryant. What a shocker this would be if San Antonio gets 3 points out of this game, all things considered. Jamison just got through. Perano not able to keep the pressure on El Paso. The slide by Perano ill-fated.
Billy Forbes, once again, just a one-man wrecking crew. 1, 2, 3 El Paso players. James Kiffey coming back across, beat him once, let's beat him again. It's a poor challenge by Nick Ross. He got that wrong. Radford Jamison almost gets the go-ahead goal with just some minutes to spare in this match. Careful though, El Paso time. Everybody behind the ball right now for San Antonio.
Fox, Ross, Kiffey, so good tonight for El Paso. San Antonio catches a lucky break. Just how lucky is it? Perano fouled. Josue Gomez shown a yellow card. It's only his 4th appearance for the club on loan from Juarez in Mexico.
Kills the game off a bit as well and just die down some of the expectations for the visitors. Perano once again trying to help his boys going forward. Little challenge by Gomez. Set piece opportunity now. Maybe one of the last looks the home squad is going to get.
Surely Green's going to go short here, right?
It's interesting, they're not going after it. 3 minutes and just willing to sit back a little bit here. Maybe they can draw El Paso out, which is what they've been able to do on the counter. High line by Kisa, Vedder, and just, well, the shirts in blue just push up a bit higher. They're not. They're maintaining their shape, and they understand that, look, we might let this one get away from us a bit. Better just lick our wounds, take the point, and get out of here unscathed.
By the same token, they have invited 6 players from El Paso into their half. And now can they play out? Perano going for goal.
I told you, just give this kid a look. Wanted to see him on the ball. Space to be had. Ross can't challenge. Felt like this might have been the moment. You could see just tilting back the tail end of it. Ball rotating across up over the bar. Too much spin on it.
Two more minutes. Tevin, I'll wrap this one up after the game. Stick around. as we conclude Wednesday night soccer. This would give San Antonio a first point in Copa Tejas. 4-team cup created by their fans. Ryan. Richie Ryan again. Ball lobbed over the top. Bayonne. The backspin puts it out. For El Paso, would be 6 of 7 unbeaten. For San Antonio, it'd be 8 of 9 unbeaten at home this year. Hear the El Paso fans chant El Chuco as they drive it away. Some fans are headed to the exit. A little youthful naivety from Price. Allow him to pump that in. Bryant. Ryan. This could be the last chance of the game. This is struck from not half field. Both sides are going to feel like they should have gotten more out of this. San Antonio denied on a penalty in the 17th. El Paso played up a man for 33 minutes. And in the end, they will share the spoils. 1 point apiece. Finishes scoreless between San Antonio and El Paso. Those two will be chatting later tonight, I would imagine, if not later in the week.
Penny for a thought, adult water as well, to talk about exactly what went on tonight. You know, interesting and frustrating for El Paso Locomotive, struggling to get a true attack going forward. They're going to take on the Foxes in their match, so not a lot of time to really dwell on it. Saturday, June 29th, just a few days away. San Antonio, on the other hand, have to find a way to really get some help on that left side with Jack Barmby. They're going to host Austin, who's streaking on their own, 2-1-2 in their last 5.
Billy Forbes, as he was pregame, went over to every fan that was sitting pitch side. Was the same on his way out. It's a big point for San Antonio and for El Paso. El Paso that much closer to the top. San Antonio a little closer to the playoff line. Finishes 0-0. Highlights, analysis after this on Wednesday Night Soccer.
team will take on the Austin Bold at 7:30. And be sure to stick around after the game for fireworks. You can purchase your tickets by going to San Antonio.
Welcome back to Wednesday Night Soccer. Logan Ketterer waited 3 years for his chance to be a starter. And for El Paso tonight, makes the biggest save of the contest. Penalty save in the 17th, the best chance of our post-game highlights with Devin Kerr, Mike Watts. Let's take a look at how this affair shook out. And 0-0, really, Devin, doesn't do it justice. When we begin 15 minutes in, Drew Becky commits a foul after a really nice interchange here.
Penalty early on. Jamison rotates over. Love the ball to Guzman. Wouldn't have minded if he cut this across the body and had to go on his own. Instead, wants to play the two-man game. Fine with that as well. Becky sends him to the ground. Barnby sends it to the bottom corner. Logan Ketterer sends him packing. This great job by the goalkeeper. And he shows the little left hand thrown up just at the tail end of it. Distracts the vision. One of the best chances of the entire game. Closing in on the first half. Good ball in. Exactly what we showed you coming into this match. Trailing run by Kisa Vedder right at the top. It just goes off the inside of the bar.
And Herrera blasting it just over the crossbar. A guy who hasn't scored yet this year. Let's move into the second half. That a foul? The answer is no, and it's a second yellow to Jack Barnby.
This is right. This is the right decision from the referee. San Antonio fans will be upset. I promise you, if they were on the other side of it, they would be livid if it was not called. I applaud the referee for his decision. Sends it to 10 men. What can El Paso do with it? I'll tell you right now, the answer is nothing. It was unimpressive. To be honest, San Antonio looked better once Jack Barnby stepped off. That is nothing against Jack Barnby. But sometimes you need extenuating circumstances to help you get up and out. Said Pirano needed to get involved going forward. Wanted to see if he'd get an opportunity. Strike from distance, couldn't close it out.
Devin, chance for your final thoughts in this affair. This looks almost identical. This game really did play true to form.
Not surprising, and go a bit further. These are teams that struggle with their conversion rate. And if you want to compete when push comes to shove in the Western Conference at the tail end of this and make a run, you're going to have to jump your percentage points by almost 10. You want to play with New Mexico, T2, Phoenix Rising, all sitting at the top of the Western Conference? They do it because they're great in the final third. Love what great forward from France Thierry Henry said about Pep Guardiola. He says, I can bring you 2/3 of the way down the field. You have to be an artist. Go do the rest yourself. Lack of imagination proved true tonight. No one up top stepped up.
Devin, you and I will be on Wednesday Night Soccer next on Wednesday, July the 3rd, right before everyone celebrates Independence Day. We're on ESPN 3 for our next handful of Wednesday Night Soccer affairs. So it's Fresno FC, Adam Smith's boys, against Simon Elliott's Sacramento Republic. Both have been very good.
That should be a fun one as well. And how about July 24th? Braden Cloutier, Ian Russell, Reno, Orange County. That could be an interesting one. Both of those teams up and down with results recently. Reno got picked apart by Phoenix on our last game out. And Orange County, interesting result over the weekend. Got taken down by T2, and they were the better squad.
So we're going from Copa Tejas off to the Highway 99 Derby when we talk to you next here on Wednesday Night Soccer. So for our entire Vista WorldLink crew, Devin Kerr alongside, producer Aba Ponte, director Gage Tillotson, Eric Falero, Hannah Reyes, and executive producer Mike Friedman. Thanks for joining us. Mike Watts saying San Antonio and El Paso finish level. There's a red card for simulation, a penalty save. It was a lot crazier than it looks. Thanks for watching Wednesday Night Soccer. Good night.
This copyrighted telecast of the United Soccer League Championship cannot be retransmitted, rebroadcast, or reproduced without the expressed written consent of the United Soccer League Championship.